Hello, this is Armando Gonzalez, your professor for athletic finance, MCAA 561 for the fall semester. Today we're going to look at the introduction to our textbook, Financing Sport, the third edition by Howard and Crompton. And we'll look at some key ideas as we open up here. The first key idea is the boom years that affected the sport industry. The second is the Great Recession, which followed. And then the idea of sports no longer being recession proof. And finally, we'll look ahead to what are some of the characteristics of the new economy that will impact managers of sport in the next few years. So, first, the boom years. The boom years are characterized as a building of new sport facilities, new sports teams, increased corporate investment, and sporting goods sales, all of which had record numbers during the 1990s to the early 2000s. We had over 160 new ballparks, arenas, racetracks built during that time, 180 new professional sports teams and 13 leagues in North America. The corporate investment, which includes sponsorships, naming rights, and premium seating, tripled from 1990 to 2000 to over $8 billion, and by 2007 was over $20 billion. And sporting goods sales reached $75 billion by the year 2000. So as you can see, the boom years affected sport in a positive way, and that leads us to the Great Recession. And the main point here, or the main question, is how did the recession impact American families? Because that is then going to inform us on how the sports industry was affected as a result of that. So the Great Recession is characterized by low interest rates, home prices falling, home sales falling, and also bank failures, which led to the high unemployment rate immediately following the recession in the years 2007 to 2009, but obviously we still today experience high rates of unemployment, which this then leads to shrinking household budgets, which then limits the amount of money people can spend on sports. So, are sports recession proof? We've found that they are no longer recession proof. They were affected, or sports have been affected, due to the Great Recession in the following ways. Fan spending has shrunk. Game attendance is not being sustained at previous levels, although in recent years it has began to rise. But attending games during the Great Recession and in the years following became too expensive for the average family, which could consume about 20% of a worker's weekly earnings. Corporate investment significantly dropped. The auto industry bankruptcies, the financial services sector, all areas which have heavily supported sports, they no longer spent the amount of money that they did in previous years on the areas we mentioned previously of sponsorships, naming, and premium seating. And then you have sport downsizing, layoffs within the leagues, the professional leagues, and then as a result, price incentives to fans to sustain the attendance that had been dropping. So as we look ahead, what are the characteristics of the new economy? They are high unemployment, a shrinking household income, and a conservative spending by most companies. And so this will help managers in the sports sector to effectively cope with the issues, which are plateauing revenues and rising costs of sport, and are really the essential thrust of the third edition of this textbook.